The Suns return home to the Footprint Center, and they return home to the winning column. A game against the Philadelphia 76ers on the second night of a back-to-back, and they win. They win by 20. Couldn't say that I saw this coming. I think both Matthew and I predicted a big old fat L, especially the way that this team has been playing. But Matthew, what we saw last night against the Sacramento Kings was a second team unit that looks like it's starting to develop some semblance of an identity. And it was the second team unit again today that really patched together this win for the Phoenix Suns, a vital win for the Phoenix Suns.
Oh, yeah. I think coming into these two games, we're not going to get anything. Last game could have won. Tonight, they took care of business, but they cooled off. They went through it. They breezed by the Sixers by just staying cool and playing their game. I think it was identical to last night's game in a way. You know what I mean? You had Chris Paul coming through, but the bench played great defense. And then you also had Booker just killing him again. So without the technicals tonight, the Suns got it done.
I was going to say, the only difference between last night and this night is Devin Booker didn't get a technical, and then the team didn't allow a 22-3 run.
Yes.
Because that's what happened last night. But as a Suns fan who obviously has been going through it, prior to this, the team has been on a skid. Nothing looks like it's fitting together. And I think even on last night's podcast, even after losing to the Sacramento Kings, you and I were in a better mood because we saw what we liked. It was either that or the copious amounts of alcohol that was in my system.
You sound good, by the way. You a little sick? Is that corn? I think you're allergic.
I feel like I smoked a pack of cigarettes. I don't know.
All that corn, dude.
What corn?
Corn in the brews. The brewskis last night, man.
Well, I'm going to be drinking more brews tonight, bro. Give me some more of that corn.
That's the way to cure the corn is by eating more corn.
I've been coughing all day. I'm like, why am I coughing? I wasn't yelling last night. It's the corn.
It is. Swear to God. Get tested. Your kid's tested, mother approved. You're probably allergic to corn.
Great. Well,
what are we talking about?
I've had this issue my entire life. I used to blame it on the ciggies, but I gave up smoking those about 9 years ago. So I guess it makes sense. Yeah, I don't get hangovers. I get corn overs.
Yes.
Comb overs. Good win, though, tonight. Good win. It was really fun.
Yes,
fun game to watch, whether you were consuming corn during the game or whether you were consuming wheat products. It was a fun game to watch because this team just was relentless against a Philadelphia 76ers team that's good. I mean, they're a good team. This is a solid win for the Phoenix Suns, much needed with KD right around the corner. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about plenty more in this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. We appreciate it if you're hanging out with us. Hopefully, if you are, you're not eating corn or drinking a beer that has corn in it. Go with Bud Light. Bud Light's corn-free, right, Matthew?
Yeah, and it just tastes disgusting, and you just sit there and feel empty all night.
Well, actually, you feel bloated, right? But emotionally empty, I assume, is what you're referencing.
You feel nothing inside from that stuff. It's so boring.
This is the Suns Jam Session brought to you by corn-free Bud Light and the Basketball Podcast Network. But I'm going to have some Coors Light, which I guess has corn in it. So if you're okay with the corn and us being corny, pop them if you got them. Let's talk about a win, baby. Finally, a win for the Phoenix Suns. Victory for the Phoenix Suns tonight. They win 125-105 over the Philadelphia 76ers, the team that in the NBA is alphabetically right next to us, which brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Matthew, gotta ask.
Yes.
We talk about the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, this isn't probably a good game to take a look at them holistically and say, hey, are they the Eastern Conference contenders? But is this a team that is Eastern Conference contenders? Or are they pretenders?
Sure. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The way Harden's been playing, it's not really a slow down game, like draw the foul kind of game from him. He's been playing better off ball. Maxey helps him a lot, as you saw tonight. He's the other guy on that team. He's the third guy that they absolutely need. Harden stepped up a lot this year. I know, of course, he was out tonight, but that team is... I don't know if I think they can beat the Bucks. They're close. It's going to be tough. I think that's like a 7-game series in the Eastern Conference Finals if it happens. And right now, the way Embiid was a little, it seemed like it just was too much for him. But the way he could slow things down, just take over games, and you have those two guys in Maxey and Harden, it's unstoppable. They got shooters around too. So I'm not going to say it's an off night from the Sixers. This is just not like a playoff looking team tonight in the Sixers. It was kind of like, the Suns are just running circles around them and just shooting lights out all game long.
Yeah.
Just couldn't keep up with the Suns kind of Sixers.
Yeah, the 76ers obviously are without James Harden. And when I talk about it in the subreddit stakeout, trust me, they let you know that that's all they complained about the entire time. But that being said, they are a contender in the Eastern Conference. In my personal opinion, it's the Milwaukee Bucks, it's the Philadelphia 76ers, and then everybody else. Because they have the only guy who can slow down a Giannis Antetokounmpo type in Joel Embiid. I mean, you want to talk about physicality. Joel Embiid is a beast. And he looked winded throughout the entire game. And some people were commenting on Twitter that potentially that he was fatigued after losing last night in Golden State, scoring 46. But I'll never fall for that ploy because I've seen it time and time again in which Joel Embiid looks like he's winded. And then he drops 46 on you. It's like Nikola Jokic, right? Like both of these guys are the ultimate possum players. They always just look like the weight of the world is upon them, but they can perform with that weight upon them. So although he did look tired tonight, I think it was just more of, as you mentioned, what the Phoenix Suns did tonight, how their second team unit didn't allow any relief. So when Embiid, without James Harden, obviously, but definitely got plenty of help from Tyrese Maxey, he just didn't have the ability to have his team pull through and help him out in the ways that they needed to. So this is a great Suns win, but I wouldn't say that's a bad Sixers loss if you're looking at it through the lens of a Sixers fan.
No, I mean, you have so many losses like this in the NBA today where you're going to have these teams like the Sixers have an off night. Suns absolutely needed this game more than the Sixers. That was part of it. I think they actually, there's a few post-game chatter from like Chris Paul, still after last game about the refs and stuff. But maybe they're like, hey, we had a chance to win that game. Let's just make sure we did exactly what we did last night and have Ross and Warren go out and just catch fire again and just help them out. Like we had help from the bench. But what the Sixers are doing too is they're going to keep feeding Embiid. And when it looks bad for him, it's like when he's like on the ground after some plays, like trying to get the ball and Chris Paul takes it away from him. It's like, dude, yeah, Embiid does look tired. He looks injured almost all the time, but he can suck you into that play and slow things down.
Yes.
But the way the Suns were shooting tonight, what was it, 50% tonight, just all game long, you're trading. And I mean, the Sixers matched the Suns 13 threes of 15, but it was like the Suns were just like, it was like they're scoring 4 points every 2 points Embiid was trying to make. You know what I mean? The defense too by Jock and Biz, they gave him hell tonight. So a lot of that was that effort from those guys was huge tonight and keeping Embiid tired and keeping him down most of the game.
Massive. And I will start and I will give the first drop to our boy Busy in this one, man. He had a fantastic
Biz.
So Bismack Biyombo in this game played 29 total minutes and was 8 of 12 from the field. He had 17 points. He had 13 rebounds. He had 5 blocks, Jamsters. He was fantastic in this game because he's the one who ultimately has to stop who, in my opinion, is going to end up with the MVP trophy. And that's Joel Embiid. And I guess we can talk a little bit about
that later.
Yeah, we could talk about that later.
All right.
But what he did and how effective he was. And as you mentioned, even Jock Landale coming in 13 minutes. I mean, he only had a couple points, but the hustle that he had. But Busy was just he has some rhythm to him now. He's starting to get, right when he's getting his rhythm down, it's like, all right, man, go sit on the bench for a while and Monty will bury him. But I think that with his play tonight and with his play over the past, week, if you will, he's definitely somebody who Monty Williams will deploy based on the playoff series, and he can be effective. And it was a reminder of that. Now, I don't want anyone to go out there and take from this game, oh, hey, look at what Busy did. We don't need DeAndre Ayton. This is not this is the exception, not the rule when it comes to Bismack Biyombo performances, especially going up against the MVP, in my opinion. But you have to appreciate what he did. He was fantastic, Matthew.
Yeah, he kind of knows what he's limited in now with the hook shot. You don't see it as much. So other options he has is to pass it off or like get closer to the hoop and try to lay it in. But the way he was set up most of this game were just free dunks. So he was going at it. I think a lot
Josh Okogie learned, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Josh Okogie took the mask off. We'll probably talk about him. He had a comeback second half for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But what Busy was doing, they were kind of just letting off him when the guy would come in. Either it was mostly Okogie when he would come into the paint and B would go out there, leave Busy because what's Busy gonna do? But then Busy took his time, grabbed the ball, dunked it, blocking all the shots. Like the way he was actually helping out with the post up game from Joel, he played it perfect. He played it the best you can. That's like it was like DeAndre-esque. If that was DeAndre though in the game, getting those looks, this game would have been a blowout quicker.
Yeah,
this game would have been over a lot sooner. But there was just things that he's limited in ways, but he's finding out what he can and can't do. And just the same thing as Jock. Like those two have really figured out what they can and cannot do and just stop doing the things that they keep messing up on and they're limited to. So that has helped the Suns a lot. And what they actually do is just use their body, play great defense. Jock's not really, he had a few bad calls for fouls, but other than that, man, like these guys stay out of the foul trouble. And when Ayton comes back, I mean, it's going to suck to see Busy go back just because he's been playing so fucking great, but you just know what you have in him now for sure.
Yeah, it gives Monty Williams some more confidence in what he has in Busy. And again, I don't know if necessarily it negates Jock Landale's presence moving forward. Again, it's purely matchup based, in my opinion, for the Phoenix Suns. The other side of that is if DeAndre Ayton's in there, he's not getting those looks. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
He's just not. He'll always have a defender on his hip and what have you, because the majority of Busy's points came as the result of penetration from the Phoenix Suns. And that's something the front end of that road trip for the past 2 weeks for the Phoenix Suns, it's been a lot of complaining about not getting foul calls, but also they're not generating the opportunity to get foul calls. It's this perfect storm of some referee and officiating malpractice, if you will, with like Scott Foster out there calling games, coupled with the fact that the Phoenix Suns are the fourth worst team in the NBA at shooting the ball inside of 10 feet. Well, the last two games against the Kings and against the 76ers, we've seen more penetration. And what's happening is when you penetrate is, one, you get some of the calls, but two, you get opportunities like Busy got. As Josh Okogie he went for a dunk, and Joel Embiid deleted that shit. Well, he did it a couple more times. As he was going up, he passed the ball behind Embiid, and there's a wide open dunk for Busy. So those are the kind of things that happen when penetration occurs. And it's a good sign for the Phoenix Suns. I don't want to say that these last two games are a trend for them, because it's going to take a lot more than two performances where I feel like they're attacking the cylinder in a more expediting fashion to call it a trend. But we're heading the right direction, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Last game was huge. Like you said, it was a fun podcast last pod, and John wasn't all hungover and full of corn, but we had a great time because we saw something in this bench. We saw the hustle. We saw a team that Booker says that he trusts, and he knows that they can get to where they want to get with these guys in the locker room. It's come together in the last two games. The last game, it's weird that was kind of like a blowout game, but tonight, like you can see that this bench unit, the guys that, we'll talk about probably like who's going to be the fifth guy starter. Mm-hmm. Like it's interchangeable in ways. Like you have multiple guys out there that you can throw in there in the starting lineup to play with those big four. So right now, I mean, the way Bismack even played tonight, it just shows you that this team is like taking their time to figure things out and making sure that they're in the right situation offensively, where it looked like such a mess a week ago, where these guys were just doing too much, and Ross and Warren were just absolutely doing too much with the ball, right?
Yeah, Ross and Ross, TJ and Ross, right?
Yes.
As Matthew dubbed them last night on the pod, the Outlet Boys, right? The discount duo, the Outlet Boys. TJ Ross.
The Outlet Boyz.
The Outlet Boyz. How about
Yeah,
that
dude.
drop, ladies and
Badass
gentlemen?
name.
Badass drop.
Yeah, really good.
I used face technology.
Yeah.
That's Bryan Cranston's voice saying the Outlet Boyz. But they combined for
Yeah,
31.
that's weird. I was like, that's not John. Like, how? That's funny, dude.
I use that deep space face stuff, whatever. But TJ Warren was 7 of 12 from the field. TJ Ross was 6 of 12 from the field. TJ Ross. Terrence Ross was 6 of 12 from the field. They combined for 31 points in this game. And as we talked about last night, we'll start with TJ Warren, right?
TJ, War Machine.
One of the Outlet Boyz, one of the discount duo, looked a lot better defensively tonight. Looked like he's starting to get in some rhythm. Starting to take some of those tough TJ Warren-esque shots that we watched for years when he played for the Phoenix Suns. And now seeing him out there and actually getting playing time, right? Warren had 29 minutes last night. He had 27 minutes tonight. Again, 7 of 12 for 16 points. He also had 8 rebounds, an assist, a steal, a block. We're starting to get more and more of Warren, and I think that that's unbelievably valuable for this team because I think that he should be part of the playoff rotation. I believe both him and Ross should be part of the playoff rotation. Do you?
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Just an applause to those guys coming back into the I mean, even Warren, you kind of forget about him a little bit because of Ross and how great he's been. It's kind of like if you were to say Batman or Robin, right? I think TJ would be his Robin for sure. But
TJ's always been Robin.
Yeah, he has.
His whole
career. He's filling up the stat sheet, dude.
Yeah.
And I think like even tonight with the Sixers defense, man, oh, my voice is up and down. It's all over the place. Just full of excitement tonight.
Lack of corn.
Yeah, those husks really toughen you up, dude. I think that what TJ's been doing, dude, he's been warming up, right? He's been warming up, but also playing against the Sixers team where defense was suspect, where they were tired. You know what I mean? It just seemed that way, right? I just feel like there was a lot of lazy defense, maybe on both ends in the first 3 quarters, but the Sixers were giving up a lot of space. Last game against the Kings, absolutely, like a lot of space. So what TJ's doing is like he's just getting to his spots. He's ready. Like he's in great position. Before it's like, well, I mean, he's 2 feet over from where he was before in those other games where he just struggled, but it just looks better. He just looks like he's in position to score wherever he's at. Like he's just like, you know, the little runners are going.
Yes.
His 3-point shot, his little jump shots, they're just little pop shots. They're just going in now because he's comfortable. He's warmed up. And he's a guy that you can rely on in the playoffs. And I think EJ said tonight that he's going to be a guy that wins us a playoff game. I think that was a quote I saw on Twitter. I agree with that. That's what I'm saying, like the 5th spot. And I said even with the Brooklyn Nets, like he is the perfect guy to have next to those dudes who's just going to be wide open and kill these teams that they're going to have to use timeouts. So be like, all right, you can't stop them, right? Ross will hit shots in these guys' face from 3. Like, I'm like, that's going to go in. Warren is just wide open all the time, and it's going to go in. So those guys will burn some timeouts and get those leads back up to 10 and 15 like they did tonight.
And the same goes with Terrence Ross in that manner.
What's the matter, dog? You with Terrence? This guy's a gangster? His real name?
Terrence.
He's the homie coach, Terrence. Parents have a real good marriage.
Both of these guys have an innate ability to score. TJ Warren, as we know, is going to be somebody who's going to attack and get you in the mid-range. Terrence, we've seen, has done that, but he's your fireball 3-point shooter. And it brings me back to a conversation we had a couple podcasts ago on whether or not Josh Okogie should be the 5th starter. And I'll pull up a tweet that I pulled up a couple pods ago for those of you who didn't see it, but Stay True S.3 on Twitter put together the catch and shoot numbers on 3-point attempts post All-Star game, and Ross is 47.4%. TJ Warren's not on this list because he probably doesn't shoot enough. But Okogie's like worst on the Suns when it comes to catch and shoot threes, 31.4%. So do you think that the Phoenix Suns at any time would go, hey, we're going to move with TJ Warren as the number 5 guy or Terrence Ross as the number 5 guy, knowing that when KD comes back, the gravity alone of Kevin Durant, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton is going to leave that number 5 guy wide open for catch and shoot opportunities, whether they be beyond the arc or whether they be in the mid-range where TJ Warren likes to live?
Well, I mean, if you're going up against a Sixers team that has Niang,
I hate that
that's
guy,
how you
by the
pronounce
way.
it. I don't like him either. He looks like just a douchebag boyfriend of your sister's that just is a fucking douche, doesn't
He
he?
shows up. He's got like a piece of shit car, but he thinks it's really
Yeah,
nice.
and
He
he's just
revs
always
it
on the
coming
phone.
down the
He's a flip
street.
phone. Yeah, and he wears flip flops all the time with his flip phone.
Yeah, and you try to say hi to him or whatever, and he's just like
yes,
kind of a dick
he
about
just
it.
doesn't even. Yeah, but that's how all these guys are. They're all pricks. Most of them, right? Klay Thompson's a prick. I know he is for sure. Yang and Harris, if you're guarding them, you can have like the whole Warren and Ross coming off the bench playing together. That was something that was really sketchy before, but now I think it's okay if you're playing a team like this that those guys can't really get to the rim. Harris just disappears. Yang will just jack up threes. If you're looking for defense though, coming off the bench with one of those dudes, I would start a Warren or a Ross, and then you have the Okogie and Warren or Ross coming in off the bench.
So you're starting to flip to that mode of thinking.
I am, but I love Kogi because
we all do.
Oh my God. Like this guy, his defense makes me tear up a little bit because he's just so good at it. Getting to the free throw line and just, he like freezes in midair till he gets the call and he's like, all right, I'll shoot it. Like he is great all over the place. His shooting is suspect sometimes, but I still trust him. But I still want him as our 5, as our number.
And see, I'm going the offensive route. I think that adding him to the second team unit, along with Torrey Craig when Kevin Durant comes back, along with either most likely Terrence Ross, who would be your instant offense guy, with Cameron Payne, and with either Busy or Jock, or if you're going super small, you throw Landell out there, or I'm sorry, Shamet out there at the 2. I mean, it gives you a lot of flexibility. I like that as a second team unit in the postseason. I like TJ Warren with the first team unit based on the matchup. Again,
all right, I love that.
TJ, if we're playing a team where we need to be a little bit bigger, although Josh does play big, but I like the offensive potency that either Terrence Ross or TJ Warren could bring to the first team unit, knowing that they don't necessarily have to, but they're going to get the opportunity. They're going to get it. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen is Kevin Durant's going to come back on Wednesday. Josh is going to stay with that first team unit. And for about 5 of the last 7 games, is that how many we have left now? 7 games?
8 more games. This was
8
9
more games.
Yeah,
there you go.
The 9th.
So I'd say 5 of the last 6 games with KD, it might be a Kogi. And they might try a game in there. If Kogi's if he's earning his keep on the first team unit, then he's going to ride that wave all the way into the postseason. But after the first couple games, if he's shooting 25, 30%, from beyond the arc, I think that Monty Williams goes, okay, you know what? Let's put him back on that second team unit and see how it goes.
No, I trust that. And I think if Kogi's probably going to stay, in my opinion, just because he doesn't make mistakes. And I think he's just the perfect guy for that situation. But I like having Warren starting just because you can get up on teams quick. Like get up on them. It'll be like a 12-2 run timeout, 15-5 timeout. And then your Suns are up and it's a good start to a game.
And that's what I like.
First quarter book. You know what I mean? Like that's going to be a lot of offense. And right now I'm just super excited. Like I just think this team, no wonder they went up to number 1 to get our favorite odds in the West already with KD coming back.
Well, and it's not about who starts. It's about who finishes, right? So you're right. You put out the best offensive lineup you can out there. Yeah, and you try to jump the team. So shout out to Blaze Megatron, one of our elite Jamsters in the super chat. Dropped us $5 in American dollars. He says, Phoenix has the hottest wings of death tonight. The Warren Ross combo with a large glass of winning. Cheers to that. I appreciate that, Blaze Megatron. And Josen since 80 at $19.99 donation.
Awesome.
Super chat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you
so much. Says, least I can do is contribute for the legit content over all these years, fellas. Jam stars go to you both. Thanks. Nah, thank you guys.
Appreciate it. Yeah, really. Thank you a lot.
Yeah, appreciate you going through the highs and the lows that of these post game.
A lot of lows this year.
A lot of lows recently. I mean, when your record's 39 and 34, like it's pretty close.
34 lows.
Yeah, 34 lows. I'd say probably about like 36 highs. Yeah, and there's 3 in there where we were not on our game. That's for sure. I mean, we probably had a lot of corn before those, and it wasn't fun for anybody.
Oh yeah! Shabba-labba ding dong!
Sneaky. I wanted to talk about Landry for a little bit because
Yeah.
not the greatest game from Landry Shamet, obviously. In his return, he only played 13 minutes. It's the worst game I think that he's had since he's returned. He had those 3 fouls like right off the bat. But as we're talking about Warren, as we're talking about Ross, and we're talking about Okogie and rotations and what's going on in the playoffs, do you think that Landry Shamet kind of becomes the odd man out and is going to be the break glass if necessary, or if another guy's in foul trouble guy?
Yeah, him and Payne to me are just guys that are just that might be on the floor, but who said this right here by Bapf?
Yeah.
Shamet was a ghost tonight, which is good. I think him defensively is really good. It's almost an A play. Like, he just plays really good defense. I feel like offensively, if he's out there,
He hustles for sure.
and yeah, he does. And if he's not doing much offensively, you realize you have other guys now you can count on. He'll slowly disappear with Payne. I feel like Payne, he's a guy that like Shamet that are schizophrenic out there.
Yeah.
Offensively, it's like, I don't know where to throw the ball. I'm surprised it was Jock who threw at the referee tonight, not one of those two, because those two can just get carried away out there, just do too much, and they're in their own heads offensively, so they will slowly go away. And I think once KD comes back and he plays with that second unit, those guys won't even matter anymore. And keep it up on defense, on the defensive side, though.
Well, that's where he can earn his keep. 3D, right? Like, hit a couple threes, just hustle on D, and that's what he's been doing since he's come back. Obviously, didn't hit any 3-pointers tonight, didn't look great offensively, took himself out of rhythm. Do you remember his shot being so flat?
No, it's changed. Yeah,
he's
since
like
he came
a
back.
dart thrower.
Yeah, it's like they're like, Shamet, we want you to shoot no matter what. He's like, okay, well, I'll shoot. He's like, and he just throws it up. Like,
whereas you have Terrence Ross,
like throwing it up.
Terrence,
yeah. By the time Terrence Ross his shot comes down, there's like
Landry shot.
shots.
Yeah, Landry shot it 3 times. Have you seen that? I don't know if you have, but they were comparing the new or how long the pitch clock, right? The whole pitch clock thing's happening.
I haven't seen that
in Major League Baseball. Well, I haven't watched any spring training baseball. In fact, I won't be available for the podcast on Monday because I have a fantasy baseball draft.
Oh,
so I'll watch the game, but then 8:00 is when the draft starts. So it'll be like halfway during that game. So we're gonna have to ask one of our fine friends if they can assist us with
anybody out there. Just hit me up.
I'll
get in. I don't care whoever you want. Come
Matthew
out here. Just make sure you wear clothes and we'll have a good time.
But they were showing there's a clip that's circulating of Pedro Baez from the Los Angeles Dodgers in like the 2016 NLCS and how long in between a pitch it took. And they compared it to Jose Altuve hitting an in the park home run. So like they show the video and like he'd throw a pitch and like after he's done throwing the pitch, Jose Altuve hits an inside the park home run, right? And then he gets the ball back and then he steps off. And then he throws over to first, and then like the whole time they're just playing the Jose Altuve inside the park home run on a loop, and it was like 8 inside the park Jose Altuve home runs in between one pitch.
But
like,
that was before, right?
Well, that was before. It was 2016, but like that's the why. That's why they're changing baseball because of that shit like that.
Yeah,
and I know as a Dodgers fan, Pedro Baez was the worst, dude. Every time he got on the mound, you're like, "Fuck, dude, there goes like another hour of my life." So, In that being said, Aussie Suns fans, I don't know if that's Gavin. I know it's not Boyd, but he says I'll be in a hotel in New Zealand, so hit me up.
All right, is it a haunted hotel? That'd be cool.
That's a good question.
We can do some ghost hunting that night. It'll be another Suns win. We're gonna get used to winning again, and we'll just blow out the pod and do a ghost hunting night, right? 1 hour ghost hunting.
Yeah, you, Gavin, and Nate will be doing some ghost hunters, which is like the stupidest fucking show. Stupidest fucking show. But I'll tell you what's not stupid is using DraftKings to bet money and bet on Houston to win it all and then lose.
Ready for the underdogs, the upsets, and the unbelievable action from DraftKings Sportsbook? The biggest tournament in college basketball is here. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 on college hoops and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all customers can score a no-sweat bet during round 1 and 2 of the tournament. Go to the app, opt in, and place a no-sweat bet this weekend. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus back up to $10. I got Houston winning it all. I know. I'm dumb. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and sign up with code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, win or lose, only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
One of the best things about this game is the fact that Chris Paul only had to play 26 minutes. He was 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 3 from beyond the arc. 13 points, 8 assists, 5 rebounds for Chris Paul. What do you think of Chris Paul entering this postseason, man?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like he could be a linchpin. We've talked about it a little bit. Let's talk about it again.
Well, if I go back a few pods, I was like, could we have Cameron Payne closing? Oh my god. Can we cut that out? Can we delete those pods?
Nobody watches those.
Oh, okay, cool. Not the old ones. Yeah, don't watch that
No.
one.
Don't go back. Don't go back and watch that.
No, I mean, I'm kind of with you now. I mean, he hit some tough shots tonight, but I guess if you can just be the other guy closing out games with the Suns, I don't know, man. It's gonna be weird with KD back. I just don't know how much he's gonna be closing out games. I guess he will be in the lineup, but it just depends
sure
how
he
hot
will
these
be.
guys are, right? I mean, if TJ and Ross are playing that way, and you still want to play Okogie defensively, like I don't see why you would put Chris Paul in the game to close out games if it's close. But I don't know. He's just a little slow to me still. But this is one good game in a while, right?
No, he's had some decent ones, especially on the distribution side. But you hit the key thing that everybody's going to be wondering. And as I mentioned before, it's not necessarily who you start with, but it's who you finish. You want to start with guys who can go out there, score you points, go up big on a team. And the way the second team unit's been playing over the last 2 games, and the reason, Jamsters, we're so excited about the way that the second team unit is playing is these last 2 games have been against really good competition, right? Like we talked about it against the Lakers game. Who the fuck's going to step up? Well, now you're seeing TJ Ross, both of them. It's correct. It's the Outlet Boys. I love it. TJ Ross, the discount duo. You see them step up, and that's what you need. And when that starts to occur, especially against good teams, all of a sudden there's some confidence in that second team unit. All of a sudden, all those national pundits who are questioning the validity of the depth of the Phoenix Suns are taking a look in the mirror and being like, who am I? How do I not know that TJ Warren and Terrence Ross can score fucking points? But when we talk about the end of a game, Chris Paul can become a pigeon on defense. And we know what happens in close games in the postseason is they target one specific player and they just switch onto him and they do what they want. They switch and isolate. That's literally like playoff basketball 101. And it's going to be interesting to see how Monty navigates that. Does he pull Chris Paul in certain situations, knowing that you got Devin Booker, knowing that you got Kevin Durant, knowing that you have 2 guys who can play make out there, and Chris Paul just kind of starts to hop on his horse right away from the Outlet Boys, just right off into the sunset. We don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that's going to be navigated because I can completely see that happen. Chris Paul will and is a liability on defense. You want him out there for his cerebral approach to the game. But shit, he can do that standing on the sidelines and helping direct players where to go and be on what side of the court when a timeout occurs and things of that nature.
Yeah, so you don't want him to close games. I mean,
I don't know. I
don't. I'm sorry. Like he's just. It's hard to even talk about him right now, like on the podcast, because it's just been the same Chris Paul, where it's just a slower guy who's just he might disrupt the offense of what they have going and flowing, and I kind of don't want that out there, man. And it's fine if these games are getting away and he can hit some big shots. Like tonight was the first game in a while where he had that turnaround where it went in. Like he's been missing those. He's been missing bunnies. He's been missing a lot, the easy shit. And it's just, you just can't have that out there in important games. You can't. I trust guys like Okogie more than, I know Okogie went 0 for 6 right to start this game, but I trust him more in his shot in clutch situations than Chris Paul right now. And I know that sounds terrible, but that just
sounds terrible.
It does. But
because in clutch situations, shooting, I trust Chris Paul. Defensively, I don't. Because that's the advantage. Again, when you're coming down the court, when there's 5 minutes left in a game and the game's within 5 points, and Chris Paul's bringing the ball up, and he's got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton out there, and insert 5th guy here. The way that he could orchestrate that offense is splendid. And what it could result in is a wide open shot for him from 3, and I trust that. Or him getting to the elbow, and I trust that.
I don't. I trust a guy that can draw the foul too more than a Kogi. You know what I mean? So I just think Chris Paul won't offer a whole lot with those guys. But
I think
I'll probably be wrong again.
But I think in those clutch situations, a Kogi's not going to be out there trying to draw fouls. He's not going to get the ball and just attack. And if he does, who knows if he's going to get it?
Well, he can attack a dish. He's been pretty good at that, I think.
But in that situation, he's not going to be asked to do that,
No,
right? Like with KD and Book, with KD and Book, I feel like those guys are going to be the primary shooters. Ayton's going to be down there to mop up the little stuff. And again, if there's an offensive rebound or there's some gravity going to either KD or to Devin Booker, Chris Paul's going to benefit because he can shoot it. I do not trust Kogi out there in that situation. Now, if it's a defense-only situation, yeah, pull Chris Paul and put Kogi, and that's where I'm at. So that's why I'm kind of stuck in this middle ground, right? I'm stuck in that Suns purgatory to try to, we know what's going to happen. We know that Chris Paul will be out there regardless.
Oh, yeah, he will.
Right?
We'll win or lose without him. That's just the way it is.
You can't lose and be like, well, Chris Paul was on the bench. But from a strategic standpoint, I'm just kind of stuck in this purgatory because it's like if the Suns have the ball and it's less than 5 minutes, I do want Chris Paul out there because of his basketball mind. And if he has to take a shot, it's not going to be a high difficulty shot. And even if it is, he can make them. We've seen it.
Yeah.
Right? Not where his issues lie, in my opinion. It's on a defensive standpoint, how he would become the pigeon and the person that the defending and the opposition team or the opposing team, they're going to attack him. And
it just looks better. And honestly, the biggest thing. Dagoberto Ortiz says CP3 needs to ditch the vegan diet and go carnivore for the playoffs.
Yes.
But also, I played basketball today, and I felt terrible after.
Well, that's because
I was like, how does Chris Paul do this shit, dude?
It's because you're corn-free.
That's true. I got to start rubbing it on my skin or something.
Well, it's like lemon for your armpits. It's corn on your hands, right? And then you don't brick it. That's just science, dude. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. Well,
what other notes do you have? I literally took almost no notes.
Oh,
I just enjoyed watching the game. It was nice. I'm like, I'm not going to take notes. I remembered what happened, and now I'm forgetting what happened because I'm on my second beer.
No, I took fewer notes than last night. The only other thing, it's funny, we actually went over everything. You want to go over Devin Booker? Did we talk about him earlier?
The guy who got hit in his big dick.
Big dick.
Big Dick Booker.
Devin Booker in this game, total 32 minutes played, 9 of 18 from the field, 9 of 9 from the free throw line. He had 5 assists. He had 3 rebounds. He had 29 points. Did not get to 30.
Damn.
Kind of sad. Sad life.
Yeah, dude. Kicking ass tonight. I feel bad for what he went through with getting hit in the dick, but really just keeping his cool. I think that was something. I think they woke up today and they're like, what are we doing? Let's just go win this game. And the rest were non-issue because they're actually into the line. And he was putting his body on the line tonight, getting to the rim. He really was. The shots he was taking, he was trying to draw the foul a lot of the times with the guy running by. So he's like, I'm all in tonight to win this game. I had to come out here and win. I had an opportunity last night and I failed this team, and not stats wise. But he wanted to make sure tonight, dude, that he got this victory over Joel Embiid. There's that conversation. Who's better? Booker and Embiid? Embiid, a little bit better. But tonight, Booker was better than Embiid.
I do give props here to Blaze Megatron. It's a fantastic point that he states in the chat. And again, everyone hanging out in the chat, thank you. Hit the thumbs up button or don't, whatever. Just the fact that you're here, we appreciate it. He says, love that he's driving at the rim, not by it. That's the key of Devin Booker of these last 2 games, and hopefully it's something we continue to see, is that he's driving at the rim and not by it. It's such a great
perfect point, man.
Great point. And again, you look at the free throw battle, the Suns shot less than the opposition again. 27 free throws for the 76ers, only 19 for the Phoenix Suns. So again, we still have only 23 games in which we've shot more free throws than the opposition. But, so let's talk about Embiid a little bit. I stated a little bit earlier during the podcast that I think that he is the MVP. Do you think that he is the MVP, or do you think that is Nikola Jokic, or do you think it's Giannis Antetokounmpo?
It would be selfish for me to come on this podcast and tell you who the real MVP is, because I watched probably 2 games this whole season of each guy. But if you want to do if you want to do narrative, the way that Embiid brought the Sixers team back, because I watched the Sixers team about a month ago, and I was like, they cannot get anything to go down in the last minutes. They're just chucking up threes. They got lucky threes to win some games. And I'm like, a lot of their stuff is just kind of thrown up there. There wasn't much of an offense, but they figured things out. And he's been unstoppable. And I think the only reason that he might win is because you don't want Jokic to get the third one in a row, and they kind of fell off. But that's the only thing. But I really haven't watched those two where I'm like taking notes and I'm like, oh, this is a neck and neck. So I don't give a fuck who's going to win. But I want Embiid to win. I really do. I wanted him to win for the last 3 years. I mean, I picked Jokic those 2 years. I was like, he should win, but I just wanted Embiid to get that finally, because he's like the one guy left in the league that's like, I mean, there'll be other guys, but right now he's like, I want to win it. And a lot of guys just don't care, but he wants to win it.
I agree. And I think that he's going out and he's winning it on both sides of the floor. And that's the one thing that I think gives him an advantage over Nikola Jokic, is the fact that he is a player who can affect both ends of the floor. And we saw it tonight. And I get we don't want 3 in a row or whatever. Like, it's all about the season.
Yeah.
And I get that the Denver Nuggets have the best record, and it's and you look at advanced statistics and things of that nature, and Nikola Jokic can be a cheat code, but he's a cheat code on one end of the floor. We know that because DeAndre Ayton, who we go up and down on, can dominate Jokic. He can't dominate Embiid. He can play well against him. He has to sit in leather on the sidelines. But I think that it's Embiid, and I'm with you. I don't watch a ton of non-Suns basketball. I'll watch an ESPN or a TNT game here and there because I just love watching basketball. But I don't watch it with enough regularity to truly understand how impactful Joel Embiid is on a night-to-night basis. But whenever I do see him, I'm impressed by him. And that's not to say I'm not impressed by Jokic, but I think a lot of it for the national pundits is going to come down to the next game for the 76ers, and they go to Denver and they play them on Monday. That could be the battle for the MVP this late in the season.
And it should be.
It should be. And Joel Embiid handed Jokic his lunch the last time they played. And Jokic took it and he opened his little brown bag. And then when he opened the little brown bag, Joel Embiid's hand came through it and flipped him off. So it was aggressive.
I mean, who would you rather have though? If you were to pick one guy to be on the Suns as center, who would be the guy? Huh?
Jokic. Yeah, because Jokic can dish the ball. He'll make every guy around him better. I understand. It's just he's that guy though, where it's like playoffs, he has to prove it. I think he has a few years. People are like, if he fails again this year, then it's like, what's up with him? I think he has a few years to get to that, and kind of already been there in a way. But I feel like Embiid gives his all in the playoffs, so you can't criticize him as much. No, I'm not criticizing either of them.
I know,
but I had to choose between the two, though.
And neither does Jokic, which is good.
I would choose.
I would take Jokic. I would take Embiid.
Real quick, I know Dan T in the chat has been giving us updates throughout the podcast. The Clippers did lose to the Pelicans, so thank you, Pelicans.
Nice.
Remember the Pelicans at the beginning of the year? How I think they beat the Suns all 3 times we played.
They were the favorites.
Yeah, and then they just fell off. But you know what? They beat the Clippers. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the Phoenix Suns are now all alone in 4th place once again. So we spent one day in 5th.
All right, here we go.
Here we go, and we actually are tied in the standings with the Clippers, but we get the 4 seed due to some tiebreaker, and we're a half game ahead of the Golden State Warriors for the 6th seed right now. So we got that going for us, which is nice, and we'll take it.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
So it was dangerous tonight, Matthew. Hanging out in a Philly subreddit is just dangerous. You got to grease the light poles. You're afraid that they're going to start overturning cars and burning things. And I'll tell you this, it is so negative in there. They're so negative. At one point, one member of their subreddit said, "Is this the most negative?" He said, "I haven't been on other subreddits of other teams, but is this the most negative one?" And somebody goes, "Oh, easily." And I'm like, I didn't say anything because I wanted to kind of keep my head low.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yes,
who said that? Bring him forward.
It's like, I'm like, holy shit. early before the game started, somebody said, anyone know if Scott Foster is reffing tonight? We need this dub. LOL.
That's so funny. Everyone
It's
knows
just,
that.
Jesus. Then somebody commented and said, damn, that Suns lineup is a shambles. I think he meant in shambles, but whatever. I mean, that's Philly talk, you know. I fucking hate CP3 so much. Him never winning a ring would bring me so much happiness. Dirty
That's so
fucking
weird.
loser. Isn't that weird?
That's so weird.
Like, I know you're being facetious, but like, imagine if that was true. Like, that's what kept you happiness. Like, you've got a shit job. Like, your wife doesn't love you. Your kids hate you. But like, what makes you happy is CP3 not winning a ring. You're just like a happy motherfucker.
Yeah, how does that even
living in
matter?
Philly.
You know what? And even like Doncic, I don't care if he gets one. Just let the Suns get one first. You know what I mean? He's like the most hated Suns fan guy. Like, so if he gets a ring, get it after later. I wouldn't care.
Man, I like what Mike says. Philly fans, fuck off. I got to get a good Logan Roy fuck off.
You know what? I thought I clipped one of those. Didn't I clip it?
I don't see one. I don't see one. That'd be great.
Okay.
I don't have a fuck off in here, but I'll get one because
Yeah,
I'm totally about
one.
that. So, this is kind of funny. Somebody said if Pedro Pascal, you know, the Mandalorian, and Bella Ramsey had a son, he would look exactly like Landry Shamet.
Yeah, I can see that.
So here they are. So here they are.
Yeah.
There's Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. You combine them, and I guess somebody in Philly thinks that looks like Landry Shamet. So
they're both from The Last of Us, right?
Yes. So if they had a kid together, it'd be Landry. Why does Booker always go off against us? And somebody said, because we don't have good wing defenders. And
he does, right?
He does. Philly's a team he always plays well
forever.
Against. And then the last comment I had, but this comment happened throughout the game, which is kind of funny. It's, well, that's ball game. They were saying that in the first quarter. And the other thing that they did the entire quarter, the entire game, was just, we don't have a point guard. Without Harden, we don't have a point guard. Maxey sucks. I'm like, how are you guys sitting there saying Maxey sucks? The dude scored 37 points. He was, from beyond the arc, 7 of 11. He was 14 of 19 from the field. He had 37 points. But, like, he couldn't set up Joel Embiid or something. Every pass to Embiid
just take the loss. This is a scheduled loss for the
I thought it was a scheduled
Sixers,
loss
dude.
for the Suns, but man,
well,
I was
ended
like,
up being for the Sixers.
Tyrese Maxey is cooking the Suns, and they were just dogging him the whole time.
It's like saying Booker sucks. You know, I get angry at Book sometimes, but
but he doesn't.
That's being a hater right there.
That's just Philly fans, man.
The Suns Jam Session Subreddit Stakeout.
God.
Sorry. Oh, sorry. We'll trade Cameron Payne for Maxey. Yes.
Yeah. There you go. If you guys hate him so much, we'll trade Cameron Payne for Maxey.
Jam star of the game.
All right, Jamsters. Let us know in the chat who your Jam star of the game is. Subscribe, rate, and review. And fuck off. All right. This is kind of a tough one, Matthew.
Not for me.
Oh, well, in that case, who's your Jam star of the game?
I'm going to go Bismack. Oh, that was terrible. Bismack. Oh, that was even worse. I'm going to go Bismack Biyombo.
Oh, okay, that guy. Had no idea who you're talking about before.
For sure, man.
Michael says it. Busy. Coach Fallen Founder. Busy Stolen Beats. Cornbread Tonight. Hashtag Jamstar. Bismack. Gotta be Biz. Terrence Ross from Sonia. D. Lee from Dagoon. That's a guy who's been cut out of the rotation. I'm A-okay with it, man. Like, he's great to hit a three every now and then, but, like, he's ass on defense.
He had a lot of time to get things going.
Busy. You'll give it to Busy. I'll give it to TJ Warren.
Okay.
I really liked what I saw from TJ again. I really liked what I saw because he played some defense tonight. So I think
it's nice to have those guys like that are just throughout the whole game. Like, they're not always hot on just one spot, but they just continue it all game long.
Yes.
It's just crazy. We haven't had a guy like that in a while come off the bench.
God, it's like we haven't had a guy like that since TJ Warren played for the Suns. Remember him back when he was with the Suns?
That guy when he started for the Suns.
Yeah, back when he started. Up next for the Suns, Monday, 6 p.m., the Utah Jazz. That's who we got up next. So Utah Jazz starting to fall off, a team that surprised a lot of teams. early in the season. They're 35-39. They're 12th overall currently in the NBA. And they're a team that you got to remember earlier in the season, we went against them and fucking Lauri Markkanen had his career high. And all of a sudden it was like, what the fuck's going on? They got Walker Kessler, the rookie out of Auburn, is playing well. It's a win for the Suns.
After tonight, yes, absolutely.
I hope
Are
so.
they gonna win? Who knows? It's probably gonna be a loss. Man, I don't know. I'm surprised they still kept it all together with that team. Like they didn't really make any moves, and they kind of just like, let's see what happens.
I don't think they had to. With all of the assets they had, the only thing that they did is they bail out the Lakers by giving them Jared Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I think, but you got to keep marketing too. Like you can't just trade him.
Oh
away.
yeah, no, you got him. You got Walker Kessler, so you got that really good interior presence. You got a gazillion draft picks for Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. It's like, okay, let's just kind of chill for a little bit and see what happens with this team. They're starting to fall off. We're at that point right now in the season.
Sorry, man.
What you got a gnat in there? Well, I mean, that's because you podcast outside.
Yeah, I am outside.
I know. And it's weird because every now and then a gnat will go up your nose and then people think you have a cocaine problem. So
yeah, I do that. I have that too.
Yeah, I know. But like you blame it on the gnats like you're like Kendall Roy. So I hope this is a win. I really do. I'd like to string some wins together. You need to string wins together right now because that Wednesday game is against Minnesota. Minnesota's fighting for a spot. Anthony Edwards will be back. Cat's back. And KD could be back for that game as well. So I think that's a big one on the schedule. So you don't want to allow this quick one-game road trip up to a high elevation to hurt you in the standings. I like the 4 seed. I like where the Suns if they can hold on to that 4 seed. So I hope they do.
You know what though? Yes, it's a must win, but I think just getting tonight's win and then maybe losing against the Jazz wouldn't be as bad.
It's not the end of the world, that's for sure.
Yeah, just the one win just helps so much.
Because you lose tonight, you're the 6th seed.
Yeah,
you're looking up at the Warriors and the Clippers.
You don't want to get any lower than that, obviously. So that's why tonight's win was huge. And then if you lose next game, it might suck, but then you're like, okay, well, KD comes back next game, so we'll be okay.
Yeah, and that's like the season begins right there, right? I mean,
yeah,
because again, it's like, okay, now everything that we've been working on, we have to kind of reassess because this is a new team, new rotations with KD returning. So we'll see how it goes from there. Jamsters, let's do a fun little Jamsters React segment. So if you got any questions for us, let us know.
Jamsters React.
Right, Jamsters.
Blaze said earlier, he's like, he said Lissy has that Dario bod. I'm like, oh yeah, like Jonathan called me Dario Saric since we've gotten Dario Saric. That's just so funny from the DraftKings. I had to bring that up.
You don't fall over as easily though. So first question from one of the Jamsters. When does DA come back?
Tomorrow. I'm just joking.
My guess is, given the way that the Suns operate, it might not be till Wednesday. I think he can play. I mean, if you can wear leather like that, you're probably ready to play.
Imagine the sweat on that shit when he takes it off.
It's got to be gross. Leather's gross.
Yeah, but that's expensive. It probably doesn't sweat as much, right?
No, it probably does. Leather's leather, man.
Hopefully it doesn't tear like Lenny Kravitz leather pants at one time live. I don't know if anybody saw that, but go look it up.
Remember.
Go look it up, guys.
Look it up. Stay after the pod. Don't leave. Crazy Luigi. When did you want a Suns versus Kings first round though? No.
I would. I would rather have that over than the Suns and Warriors, but you know what? I'm kind of falling off the whole Warriors thing. I'm like, I don't think they're.
I am too. I have been. I don't think they have it.
It's nasty. They just rely on Steph too much. It's just Steph or nothing.
They don't have the depth.
They can't do anymore. So
they don't have the depth. So I don't want to play the Kings in the first round. I'd take on the Clippers. I mean, with Paul George's availability up in the air, like I want the Clippers.
Absolutely. Yep.
Baf, what would you do to get Nash on this lineup? I would snort gnats in my cocaine.
I would snort cocaine off of anything, long and strong.
Coach Fallen Founder, more anticipated return, Aiton, KD, or Gavin? Because Gavin's traveling and such from the Aussie Suns Fans podcast. So a reminder to everyone who's watching along live now, once we're done, go check out the Aussies Suns Fans podcast to continue the party over there. Obviously it's KD, man. I have a shirt I haven't even unfolded yet. Yeah, I have no shirts with Gavin's face on it.
KD, don't even. I feel like they shouldn't show him at all until the actual game starts. Then he can come out of the tunnel. Just don't do anything.
Yes. Johnny Go says, play my Sarich smoke break drop.
Oh, it's yours?
I'm not going to play it. I think we play the Thunder one more time this year, don't we?
Yeah, we do. We'll save it for that, Johnny. Come back.
Yeah, Johnny, come back for the Thunder
back,
one. You'll see your drop.
Hey, I was thinking too, really quick. Tonight when they did the reviews, like they had the 2 reviews where they're like, that was actually a 2, and that was changed to a 3-pointer. They should save those and just delete the replays and only the refs know what it is. Save them for the end of the game. So if it's like a close game, it's going to overtime. It's like, okay, let's find out exactly if that was a 3-pointer or a 2-pointer.
Bob Barker comes out.
And then you find out what it is.
All right.
Awesome.
And next up, let's see. You have to play Plinko to find out. You're like, oh my God.
It was a 3. The Suns
really
won.
was. Yeah, with cameras and everything like that, that'll never happen because we'll just talk about the whole game. It's really 99, not 98. Like I know because he hit that 3 in the second.
Funny to talk about the rest of the game.
It'd be funny because the people in the stadium would have no idea why.
Yes.
Like, and the real score, they're like, what the fuck? I've been rooting for this all wrong.
Yeah.
Crazy Luigi, thoughts on this being the last season that Al McCoy's broadcasting games? Sad, man. I mean, he's the voice of all of us growing up. All of us. There's no one who listens to the Phoenix Suns who didn't grow up with Al McCoy calling games. And this is last year. And it's like, God, it would be a storybook ending if the Suns could win him a chip, man.
They got to. They should have the last 2 seasons. They have to. Now this is his last. I mean, he'll still be with us on the planet and we might win. But for him to be gone, that is crazy. That is nuts. I mean, I don't listen to the radio as much, obviously, with how you can access games now, but back in the day, dude, it was like driving anywhere. You're just like, all right, listen to the game. Is the best way to watch and view a game was just listening to it.
Oh, it was.
That's how I ended the finals game 6. I was listening to Al McCoy. I couldn't watch it, so I just listened to him.
Oh, real? Wow.
Yeah.
God, I'll never forget where I was for that too. Remember back when we were kids, like you could have the game on UPN. Well, one, like Al McCoy would be on UPN. So like that was cool. But there was other times where because
that.
There was that side. So I mean that's Shazam, all that's where it really was fantastic. But there's other times like during the playoffs where you'd be watching on like ABC and you could just mute the game and listen to the radio. And it would sync up because it wasn't like a delay because I have DirecTV and a satellite or you're streaming it, so you're 3 minutes behind in real time. So you could listen to the radio and have the TV going at the same time. It was the best way to fucking watch games, man. Like I remember that playoff run in 94, that playoff run in 95, doing just that. Like having my mom has one of those radios that's also like a tape player and a CD player and a record player. And that was like in my living room. And we would just listen to that while we were watching the Suns games. Only because even back then, I don't know who it was. It was like Marv Albert or something. And my dad hated Albert because he like bit somebody.
He did the Chapman shot, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Yep. That was, I think that's like the memory I have instilled in my brain from being so young. Like that was
born
the one
in
thing
89,
that always stuck out.
So that was like right in that. I mean, the 93 run was just unto itself.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, like that game 7 against the Seattle Supersonics and Barkley. I mean, the whole thing. Any other questions in the chat? Bit a prostitute, right? Yeah, that's right. Marv Albert bit a prostitute. And my dad hated him for my dad.
First, I had no idea what he was saying right there. Like, what?
Yeah, Marv Albert was accused of biting a prostitute. My dad used to always make fun of him because he's like, that guy's got the most expensive hairpiece in all the sports, because
a prostitute.
He like bit a prostitute in the late 90s. And my dad, like, if you've ever like sinned,
I wonder how
my dad, well, only one that was like
that got out
who didn't sign an NDA.
Yeah, the rest turned to vampires or something. That's crazy. What a life, biting prostitutes. It's just Jamsters. If you're into prostitutes, that's fine, but it's just crazy to be that way and like have to order prostitutes because you're addicted to it that much. That's just nuts.
Yeah,
and like at prostitutes, I like go like this. My bezel, there's just a dead prostitute behind me.
You're like, check this out. Her name was Sparkles. I think that's all the time we got for on this show, Jamsters.
I think so too.
We appreciate you hanging out with us. Again, hit subscribe, hit review, hit rate, hit everybody. Just don't bite a prostitute. Make sure that you join us on Monday night following the game against the Jazz. Again, Matthew will have somebody on with him as I will be doing a fantasy baseball draft, which I have to start studying for tonight.
Yeah, you
I don't
should,
know
man.
what the fuck's going on. On that note, again, everyone have a great night. Suns win, absolutely huge win. So I'm going to finish these beers and just,
Yeah, go home and bite your family.
or a prostitute.